Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is December 2nd, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. I got the Pacific Ocean dead center. You can see Washington, Oregon. We're under the protection of this ridge at least for a few more days, but things are going to start changing as we go through the end of this upcoming week. And then through the extended forecast, we are looking a bit more active. So we're going to dive into some of that activity here as we go through the video this morning, taking a look at what's going on this morning across some of the region. Look at this. We had a hard frost again last night here near SeaTac. You can see the fog moving around. You can see the frozen moisture on top of some of the rooftops there, and it was on the grass and the walkway. And my house was quite slippery this morning. SeaTac reporting freezing fog in several different observations there as well, below freezing temperatures with the fog. And yes, it was quite slick out there. Something interesting as well, you can see the tower visibility was 10 miles or greater, so it was likely above that lower level fog layer there. So kind of interesting there. It might have made for a nice image this morning. But if we take a look at the visible satellite imagery, you can see the Chehalis Gap. There's the Strait of Juan de Fuca, terrain features, Puget Sound, Willamette Valley, socked in this morning, and you can see much of areas east of the Cascades, northern Oregon, Columbia Basin, really socked in. You can see the Okanagan River Valley here as well with the fog moving around here. So yeah, we are pretty locked in here. Cold pool east of the mountains, and that might come into play with some of the weather as we go through the end of the week here in a moment. I'll show you that here in a bit. No storm reports yesterday. Taking a look at Portland, Oregon, you can see we got the dense fog advisories, freezing fog advisories mainly east, but you could have had that up for Seattle National Weather Service for some areas. Areas of fog this morning. Spokane, always with the good graphics. Thought I'd show it. You could have some freezing fog over there as well. Take it a little bit easy here this morning and use your low beams, reduced visibilities. And if we take a look at the HRRR, probably the best model here on showing what was going on, but it's still underdoing definitely the coverage east of the mountains. And you can see the terrain features nicely on here as well. You see the Willamette Valley, the Puget Sound, Sailor Sea breaking out for the most part today, most areas, but then the redevelopment of that fog probably going to roll in again here tomorrow morning. And you can really see it locked in east of the Cascades. Maybe some freezing fog again. So Seattle Tacoma International, this is for this morning. And you can see the temperature just above freezing there. So it didn't really quite capture how cool we were going to drop in the overnight hours. But watch what happens as we go on into Tuesday morning. Look at that temperature. It's showing it even cooler than this morning. So again, freezing fog is a possibility, especially across some of the Puget Sound there south of Seattle. And you can see the what's known as an inversion with the warmer temperatures aloft and the cooler temperatures just below freezing at the surface. Now, taking a look at 80-meter wind speed, I did mention some of the gusty winds going through the gorge and some of the mountain gaps there, but we were getting gusts 60, 70 across the gorge, and that's going to continue on in through the day today and probably on in through tomorrow as well. But if you are not near one of these mountain gaps or terrain features, you are definitely dealing with much lighter winds, and that's why we have these inversions setting up. But yeah, you can see the wind continue all the way on in through Tuesday night, and then again on in through Wednesday at periods before the next system starts to arrive. I selected this station here right near the Columbia River Gorge. There's Columbia River, there's Washington on the north and Oregon to the south, and you can see those easterly winds there. So that helps break up the inversion. That's why a lot of Portland, especially places east, we're not getting much fog this morning. You know, that wind stirs up the atmosphere and kind of ruins that inversion at the lower levels. Now, taking a look at the European, this is mean sea level pressure, and we've got this cold pool trapped. And as I scroll through the upcoming days here, you can see it's not going anywhere in a hurry. And eventually we start to get some more weather moving into the Pacific Northwest as we go towards the end of this week that we're going to be looking at here. But that could bring some icy conditions here to eastern Washington. I'll show you that here in a moment. But first, I want to show you that cold pool. And you can see how it's trapped in here and some of the lower elevations. We're looking at 2,500 feet off the surface, but that's not very high off the surface here for eastern Washington. A lot of these places are up over 1,000 feet or more. And again, if I scroll through here, you can clearly see this cold pool just firmly entrenched here for the next few days. And I'll show you now why that may play into this next system as we go towards the end of the week. So here we go on into Thursday, decaying front arrives, but then we get a bit of a stronger system here as we go through Friday, on in through Friday night to Saturday morning. Kind of an atmospheric river look to this one here. So we're definitely going to pick up and change the pattern here and bring some more precipitation back into the region. But as this system comes in, it may start off here some freezing drizzle or freezing rain here. We'll see how fast that cold air gets scoured out. And if this frontal system doesn't bring precipitation, it may stir things up just enough where this next system is just going to be all rain for some of the lower elevations. However, if we look at the North American model, I do want to point this out because you can see as we go through the day Thursday, if some of that precipitation makes it east of the mountains, that could make for some treacherous conditions, even across some of the Columbia River Basin there. So we got to watch that one closely. That is on the day Thursday. Now, taking a look at the wider view of things, Japan all the way to the left, there's Alaska top screen, there's Hawaii down to the bottom, there's Washington State. So we've been dealing with this ridging. You can clearly see it here at 18,000 feet over the west coast of North America. And then we get this weak system trying to slide by on the day Thursday, right there, that little ripple there through the ridge. And then we bring maybe a bit more of a wet system as we go through this weekend here. A bit of an atmospheric river, stronger system rolling in as we go through this weekend. Definitely going to change the pattern up a bit. Then we get somewhat of a transient ridge because we're going to get additional systems trying to break down that ridging here as well. And then we have this battle between the ridging and the Gulf of Alaska troughing here. How is that going to turn out? Well, we don't know just yet, but we do know that there's likely a pattern change coming. As you can see, much more active weather as we go through the extended forecast, backed up by both the GFS and the European model. So you can also see this here on the GFS, the Pacific North American Oscillation. When we move into negative territory, we get the troughing over some of North America here. So you can kind of see how we're with the Pacific North American positive currently, and we're going to get this pattern change as we start to head towards, maybe as we go towards, let's just call it the mid portion of December. Same thing with the European there as well, clearly from positive to negative Pacific North American Oscillation incoming. So this is looking at the 12Z GFS. So here we go. And in fact, let me change this up. I meant to show you guys this. Let's do oceanic, and we're going to do Gulf of Alaska here so we can see a little bit better what is coming, because some of these systems are going to be coming out of the north and west. So here we go as we go through the day Thursday. And again, you can see a little bit of light freezing rain or drizzle here, maybe a little bit of light snow for eastern Washington as that initial system rolls through. Then a wetter system as we go through this weekend, bit of an atmospheric river. Look to that. We'll check out that system a little bit more tomorrow because it could bring even some blustery conditions. Not a bad pressure gradient there, some mountain snows as we go through the weekend coming up. Then a little bit of a break here again, but then the system should be rolling back in as we go through next week. You can see that warm front there. And yeah, again, additional cyclogenesis on through the extended forecast. This is some interesting systems rolling towards the Pacific Northwest as we go on into the extended GFS. Now let's take a look at what the European 12Z run. Let me update that to make sure we have all the most recent data. And here we go. So it shows the first system really trailing off and not making much headway into eastern Washington where that colder air would be trapped. But then we bring that atmospheric river in here as we go on in towards the weekend. And again, there's that pattern change. And then additional systems, another one, and another frontal system as we go through the following week. And you can kind of see we've got some interesting storms trying to knock on the Pacific Northwest door here as we go through the extended portion of the forecast. So yeah, it looks like a return to some of the active weather. And if we take a look at the GFS, this is hot off the presses. Look at the 16-day precipitation anomaly. All of a sudden, it's kind of flopped here. And you can see the sharp cutoff there across southern Oregon. So we'll be watching that close. But if you look at the 06Z, you're looking at something else with the ensemble. So we still have some work to do here over the next few days. And in fact, let's take a look at the European, and we're going to do precipitation, and we're going to do 10-day anomaly. So this is the 12, the one hot off the presses here. So yeah, you can see probably not as bad as what it was yesterday, but still, we're generally pretty rainy at this time of year. So you have to kind of watch that. You know, if we're dealing with just slightly below normal precipitation amounts, we can still be quite active. And this was, again, I think this was a different one here. So let me, yeah, okay, you can scroll through it a little bit here. So as they scroll through the run, you can kind of see that. As you go towards the end of the run here, we're looking at some above average here. So that is definitely a change from previous runs. So here's the 6 to 10 day. Take this with a grain of salt right now, but above average, below normal precipitation. Same with the 14-day there as well. So yeah, we have a lot to watch here coming up. So tomorrow we will break down this weekend system in a bit more detail. We'll have better model agreement. We'll see if any of that precipitation is going to be in the freezing form for places east of the Cascades. We'll see what kind of punch that first system is going to have, and we'll continue to watch the extended as we go on in through the next few days. So otherwise, back off to work here again for a couple more days. But yeah, hope you guys are having a good day yourselves, and we will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.